Hello everyone, this is Ankit Jain. Welcome you all to my channel Tech Journey with Ankit. This is part 5 of our platform event series. In the part 4, we have already discussed how you can subscribe to the platform event by using the flows as well as the trigger. In this session, we will explore how you can subscribe those same platform event using the Lightning Web Components as well. Let's go over the agenda for the today's session. First, we will have the quick recap about the platform events that we have discussed in the previous parts, and after that, I will walk you through the theory part, what all different things that you have to take care at the LWC level to subscribe the platform events, and in the end, we will implement the Lightning Web Component as well. So let's quickly go over the recap of the platform events. Platform event is nothing but an integration capability that uses the streaming API. It is the product of the streaming API. There are few other products of the streaming API like the change data capture. I have already created the series for the same. You can definitely check out the channel for that, or I will also put the link for that in the video description. Again, the platform event is also based on the event driven architecture. What I mean from the event driven architecture here, in the event driven architecture, there will be multiple publishers who will be publishing the events to the event bus, and there will be multiple subscribers who will be subscribing to the event bus, right? So whenever any activity has been done by the publisher will do publish the events on the event bus, and those subscribers which are interested in that event, they can receive that event and then process it. There are different ways to publish the events to the event bus that we have covered in our series, like we can publish it with the help of Apex, with the help of flows, as well as with the help of API. Similarly, you can subscribe to the platform event by using the flows, triggers, as well as the LWC. There are few more things that we have already covered in detail about the platform event. Make sure that you guys are following the complete series to get the detailed understanding about the platform events as well. So let's move over the next part for today, where we will see what all different things that you need to take care if you have to subscribe the platform event using the Lightning Web Component. To do that, you have to use the EMP API module. What you have to use in your Lightning Web Component, you have to import the different methods of the EMP API module. This is out of the box module that Salesforce have provided, with the help of which you can work on the streaming channel. We have already worked on the with the help of EMP API module in our change data capture series as well. Right? Similarly, for the platform events also, you can use the same EMP API module and subscribe to the streaming channel. Right? Key point, whenever you are using the EMP API module, it is only supported for the desktop applications. It is not supported for the mobile app. Again, I am repeating, it is only supported for the desktop applications. They are not supported for the mobile app. So with the help of EMP API module, you can subscribe to the platform event and you can do your processing. So let me walk you through a quick demo that we are implementing in the today's session. In today's session, we will be creating this Lightning Web Component that is referred as the path. Right? And what we will be doing here is we will be publishing the event with the help of Postman tool. And as soon as the event has been published, right, we are subscribing it with the help of this component so that the values will be updated. For example, here I am passing the two parameters for the platform event. One is the case ID and second is the escalated. As soon as I go and publish this event, you can see that the event has been received, and once the event has been received, the values will be refreshed. So here I am getting the value that operation has been enqueued, and here my case is updated to escalated and my value has been updated to escalated. So we will be creating this Lightning Web Component which looks like a path, right? Which, and in this component we will be subscribing to the platform event based on which the values of the case status will be updated. So let's go towards the implementation part that we have to implement. For this demo, I have created one platform event with the name of case details. This platform event have two custom fields. One is the case ID and second is the case status. How to create the platform event, how to add the custom fields on the platform event, I have already covered in the previous session. Right? These custom fields, it is having a data type as text with the size as 20. Again, the size doesn't much matter here. The name of the field here is case ID as well as the case status. So this is the first prerequisite that you have to take care whenever we are following me for the implementation part. You have to go and create one platform event with the name of case detail. Another key point here is in this implementation, we will be using out of the box lightning progress indicator that Salesforce have provided. For that, again, you have to navigate to the component library, and here if you search for the progress indicator, here you will get the progress indicator. From the drop down, select the option of path type with iteration, and you will be landed up on same page. Right here, Salesforce have provided the few dummy code that with the help of which you can go and create a path like structure with the help of lightning web component, so that you do not have to go and create the path from the scratch. You can use this code and implement it, but again, this is the dummy code. We have to get that used according to our requirement. In our requirement, what we have to do here is we need the path options. Here it should be the option of the case status, so we have to go and populate the case status here. That is the first thing. Second thing here is we have to also populate the default value of the case status. For example, whenever my component is loading, whatever the case status value that we do have here, that case status values, it should be replicated, right? So we have to make sure that we are populating the default value of the case status here as well. Like here the case status is escalated, here also it is escalated, so we have to also go and populate the default value. So two things that we have to do in our component. First is we have to get all the pick list values of the status. Second thing we have to do here is we have to get the current value of the status, and to implement the UI part we have to use the lightning progress indicator. So let's go and move towards the implementation part now. So here I go and create my lightning web component. Let me name this component as the case progress indicator. Right, as I said, there are two things that we have to do in my component. Number one is I have to get the pick list values for case status, and second thing that I have to do here is get the current value of case status. So let's do this one by one. To get the pick list values for the case status, we are already covered in our bootcamp. What we have to do first, we have to get the record type. So here I am, to get the record type, here I am using the get object info method, and here I go and use the get object info, because to get the pick list values I need the record type ID. As I'm using the IntelliSense get info, object info is automatically imported from here. So here I am using the @wire decorator and the get object info. With the get object info, we have to pass one parameter, and that parameter name here is the object API name. Right here I need to pass one parameter, that is the object API name. So let me go and import the object API name here. So import is object from Salesforce slash schema slash case. Right, so this is my object. So whatever the output that I am getting here, I am storing that output into one of the property. Let me name that property here as the object info property. Right, as I am using the wire decorator here, I need to import the wire decorator here. Now I got the object info. From here I got the default record type. Now to get the pick list values, we do have the method, that is the get pick list value method. So here I go and use the get pick list uh, values. Right, here I am using the get pick list values. Why the IntelliSense is not suggesting? Yep, it is suggesting now. So let me go and type this one more time. Get pick list values, correct. As I am using the IntelliSense, it is again imported here. In this method there are two parameters that we have to pass. First parameter here is the record type ID, right, that we are getting from the get object info, and second parameter that we have to pass here is the field API name. Field API name in our scenario, it is the status field. So what I am doing here now is I am also importing the status field as well. So here I go and import the status field as well, right, and here I am passing the status field. Now I need to pass the record type ID. I'm getting the record type ID by using the object info, and for that I need to make it as a reactive parameter. We have already covered in detail in our bootcamp session what is reactive parameter, why you need to make the reactive parameter here, right? Because whenever the object info details are available, then and then only we can get the pick list values, and that for that reason I'm making this as the reactive parameter, and the parameter that we have to pass here is the default record type id. So here I go and pass the default record type ID. If you go and print this object info details, you will get this default record type ID here. Once you have the default record type, you can store that data into the property or the function. Let me use the function this time. So here I am using the pick list function. This function is again taking an object, that is the data comma error, and here I am checking that if I am getting the data, else if I am getting an error. So if I am getting an error, I am logging the error details, error while fetching pick list, and here I go and have the error. In case I am getting the data, so to store the data I am defining one property. Let me put here the property name as status options, and here I do go and store the this dot status options available is equal to data dot. If you go and print this, right, that we have done multiple times, so you can get the values in the data dot values. Again, if you are not sure why we are getting the values, here again you can go and use the console dot log and print the data as well, right? Because in the data we do have one more property, that values. So from here you can go and fetch the values. Definitely you can print it, and accordingly you can get that values here. So this is how you can go and fetch the status options. Now the next thing that we have to do here is, once we got the pick list, once we got the object info, now we have to get the current value of the case status. So whenever we have to get the current value, we do use the get record function. So to use the get record function, again I am typing here the get record and using here the wire get record. Again I am using the IntelliSense, so get record function is automatically imported here. In this get record function there are two parameters that I need to pass. First is the record ID, and second one is the list of fields. What is the record ID? Again, to get the record ID I am defining one more property here, that is the record ID, and this property I am annotating with @API. So whenever my component is exposed to the record page, I can access the record ID here. So I do have my record ID, and again I am making this parameter as the reactive parameter, because as soon as the values will be available in the record ID, I can get that value, right? And again, which field I want to access? I want to access the status field. So here I go and put the status field. Next thing here is, again, to save the state, to save these details, I am creating one function. So here I go and put get record output. Again I do have here the same thing, data comma error. Again I am checking if I am getting the data, else if I am getting an error. If I am getting an error, then here I go and put the console dot log error, and here I put error while fetching data, right? And in case I am getting the successful data, sorry, here I missed to put the comma, so let me put the comma. In case I am getting the successful data, then I need to fetch the status value. So to fetch the status value and to store it into one of the variable, here I go and use the at the rate, not at the rate actually, so case status value, right? And let me store this value in this property. This dot case status value is equal to, uh, again, to get the values with the help of get record, we do use the method, that is the get field value. So here I am using the get field value to get that value. And in the get field value, first parameter that I need to pass here is the data from where I need to extract the value. And the second parameter that I need to pass here is the field name for which I need to extract the value. This is how you can access the current case status value. Now you do have the pick list options, you do have the case status value. Still we are having an error here. This error is because we are using the okay, we are using the @API decorator, but we missed to import it. So here I go and import the API decorator as well. Now it looks good. So I got the pick list options, I got the current status value as well. Now next thing that I need to do here is I need to define my progress indicator. To do that, again I'm navigating to the component library and I'm copying the reference code from here and putting it here. Now let's go and arrange the reference code. First thing here is the current step. In the current step, what we have to do, we have to pass the current value. So here I go and get the current value of the case status value. So here I do have my current value. Next, the type is pass, the variant is base. Now we have to iterate over each and every options. So we are storing that options in the status option. So here I go and put the status options. Now the next thing, label also we have to put, value also we have to put, and in the key, it's up to you whether you want to put the label or value. I prefer to put the value because value will always be unique, right? So here I am putting the step dot value as well. Now my component is looking ready. Let's go and add this component to check how the component is coming up on the UI, and after that we will go and implement the additional steps. For that, first I am exposing this component to the record page target and I am exposing as the record page, right? Let me quickly check if I am missing anything. This looks good. This also looks good. Yep, let me go and deploy this. A component is deployed successfully. Let's go and add this component on the case record page. For that, I am navigating to the case record page and here I am looking for the component that is the case progress indicator. Here I go and drag and drop that component, and after that I go here and click on save. Let's go back and check the functionality. Okay, so my component is created successfully. I can see all these values here. Along with that, the current step is also populating correctly as escalated based on the status value. Now, what we will be doing here is we are adding few additional things in this component to subscribe to the platform event. As we discussed, to subscribe the platform event using the Lightning Web Component, you have to use the EMP API module. To do that, you will navigate to the component library, and in the component library, here you will search for the EMP API, and here you will be landed up to the documentation of the EMP API module. So with the help of this documentation only, we will go and modify our Lightning Web Component. So the first thing that we have to do here is we have to go and import this EMP API module in our Lightning Web Component. So here I go and perform that import operation. Next thing that we have to do here is we have to go and define this channel name. Whatever the platform event that you have created, you have to go and specify that channel name here. In our scenario, we have created the platform event with the help with the name of channel case details underscore underscore e. So I have put the same name here. Now the next thing that we have to do here is we have to go and subscribe to the platform event, and I am doing that in the initialization block. So here if I scroll down further, here I go and initialize it with the connected callback method. So as soon as my component has been initialized, I want to perform that subscription. So to perform the subscription, you have to invoke this handle subscribe method. So again, I'm copying that code here and putting it here. Now, so here I go and invoke this code, this dot handle subscribe. Now let's go and try to understand what all different things that we do have here in the handle subscribe. First thing here that we do have is the callback function. Again, I don't want to write down the callback function in this way. For that, I want to use the arrow function. So to do that, here I go and specify const message callback is equal to response, and whatever the message that you wants to print, you can definitely go and print it here. And whatever the additional business logic that we have to write, because as soon as the message has been received, in our scenario we have to go and update the status value with the help in the Lightning Web Component. So to do that, I am creating another function here or another method here, that is the handle event response, right? And here I do have that response as an input parameter. In this method, for the time being, I'm only logging the response from Postman. Whatever the response that we are getting from the Postman, I'm simply logging that response for now. So here I do have that response, right? Or if you want, you can go and print that response with the help of json.stringify and also parse it just to view this response in a better format. This is we are doing only for the viewing purpose, right? So I am simply printing the response here. After that, we will go and write down some additional logic once we have validated that our platform event is successfully subscribed with the help of lightning web component. And here I am invoking this method. So here I go and put this dot handle event response, and here I am passing the response. Right now, next thing here, we are calling this subscribe method. We have already imported it. Channel name we have already defined. Message callback we have already defined here. And as soon as the component has been subscribed, we are printing that subscription details, and we are storing that subscription into one of the property. So let me go and define that property as well here. So here I go and put the subscription, and I am making that as an empty object. So I have defined that subscription property as well. In our example, there is no need to toggle the subscription. So I am taking out that toggle the subscription part from here. So this is how you can handle the subscription part. And as soon as the subscription has been handled, in case there is any failure, then we are printing the error listener as well. Again, to get the code of the error listener, I am navigating to the documentation, and from here I am copying that code and printing it here. Right, like we have done the subscription part, we have to also take care of the unsubscription part as well. And for that, I am using another lifecycle method, that is the disconnected callback. And in the disconnected callback, we will go and unsubscribe the component. So here I do have the logic to unsubscribe the component as well. So let me go and invoke the unsubscribe method here to perform the unsubscription. The way we have done the subscription, similarly we have unsubscribed the component as well. Right, so as of now my code looks good. I believe my component will subscribe to the platform event. Let's go and quickly validate it, and once that part has been done, then we will move toward the next step to update the case status. So my component is deployed here successfully. Now coming back to the code here. So we have already added the component here. Let me quickly go and refresh the page. And what we will do now here is, with the help of Postman tool, we will be publishing one event, and the expectation here is we should receive that event on our case record page. Okay, so let me go and open the console window, because we as of now we are not doing any business logic after receiving the platform event. We are simply printing it in the console window. Again, let me give a quick walkthrough what I have done on the platform event. Here under the S object, I am using the S object create method, or S object post request, and here I am putting under the params, I am putting the API name as the case detail, and under the body I am sending the case ID as well as the case status. These two things are nothing but the custom fields that we have created on the platform event. So what you have to do here is you have to log into the Postman. How to do that I have already covered in the multiple sessions. You can also check out a separate video on my channel, how you can deal with the how you can connect the Postman to the Salesforce org. After that, you have to navigate to the REST folder, expand the S object, navigate to the post S object create, navigate to the params. Under the value, put the case details. Under the body, put the case ID as well as the case status. Case ID, you can put the record ID of any case in your org. In my scenario, this is the record ID that I received from the URL. So I have copied that record ID, right? And so I pasted this here. Case status, you can take any values from the drop down for the case status. For the time being, I am taking the value as working. Okay, so this is how you can go and create your request for the testing. Now the expectation here is as soon as I am firing the request, something should be printed in the console. Something means nothing but the subscription of this platform event. It should be printed on the console. Let me go and click on send. So my platform event has been sent successfully, and here you can see that we have successfully received the message as well. Right? We have successfully received the message as well. So whatever the message that we are sending, you can see that we are getting the complete detail. We are getting the data, we are getting the case ID, we are getting the case status and everything. Now, the next thing that we have to do here is first we have to validate whether we are getting the complete details or not. And after that, we have to go and handle the response. So first we have to check, are we getting the data? Under the data, are we getting the payload? And if we are getting the payload, then we have to fetch the case ID and the case status and perform the operations. So how to do that? Again, I am navigating to my editor, and here to validate that, first I am checking that if response has own property. What is the property that we are expecting first? As I said, first we are expecting the property value as data. If the response do have the property value of this data, right? So if we do have this data available, right? If you have the data available, the next thing that I am checking here is if the response have the property value as payload. For that, let me go and put here, let JSON object is equal to response dot data. So that means I got the data. Now the next thing I'm checking here is if JSON object has own property. And what is the property that we are expecting this time? We are expecting the property as payload. So here I go and check the payload. If I do have the payload available, now the next thing that I will do here is I can go and access the send case ID as well as the case detail. So let me go and put here, let response case ID is equal to, how you can again access that data. So for that, you can navigate to response dot data dot, what is the path? You are here response dot data. From the data I am navigating to the payload. So dot payload, let me check, yeah, correct, and followed by the dot case ID. So here I go and put the dot case ID. This is how you can navigate to the path to get the complete case details. Now you got, once you got the case ID, similarly you have to get the case status as well. So here I go and put the case status. How you can access the case status? Case status is available in this property, that is the case status property. So first you access the case ID, after that you have access the case status. Now you got these details. With the help of update record wire adapter, now you can easily go and update the value. How to use the update record wire adapter? Again, I have covered that in the bootcamp. Let me quickly put it here. To do that, you have to use the update record. Again, update record is an asynchronous process. So here I am defining that method as an async method, and I am handling this with the help of await. Right? So I am handling this with the help of async await. Sorry, let me check if I have ASY. Yes, see, that's correct. Why we are getting this error? Sorry, it's a typo from me. ASYNC async. Correct. Now I do have the async and I do have the await here. Now here I am putting that whenever I am performing this operation of update record, right? Update record method, it always takes one input parameter, and that parameter here is the, sorry, record input. This record input is nothing but the list of, sorry, it's nothing but a object of fields, and here you have to go and identify all those fields. So let me put here, let fields is equal to, it's an empty object, right? Now in this object we have to go and populate the ID of the field, as well as we have to populate the fields that we have to update, right? Again, I am repeating, whenever you are performing the update operation, it is mandatory to populate the ID. So here I am populating the ID as well as the fields. So let me go and import the ID field first from the case object. So again, I am navigating here on the top. and importing the case ID, and here I go and put the ID. Let me scroll down further, and here I am putting the fields that I want to import. Case ID dot field API name is equal to, so we already have the case ID available in this field, so here I go and put the case ID. Similarly, we already have the status field, so let me go and put here case uh, status field dot field API name, and here we already have the case status, right? So we have populated both the fields with the help of which we have to perform the update operation, right? And now the next thing that we have to do here is we have to go and dispatch the event as well, because we have to notify the user that the record has been successfully updated. So for that, again I'm coming back here, and let me go and navigate to the documentation and look for the toast event. So here I go and search for the platform toast event. So here I go and import this, right? And after that, here I do have this complete logic to fire the toast event. So I'm copying that logic, moving it down, and here I go and update the fire the toast event. Let me put here the title as success. Message here is case status is set to. Let's say I don't want to use the quotes here. I want to use the string interpolation operator. This operator is just below your escape. So I'm using this operator of string interpolation, and here I am putting the value of the case status that we do have under the response case status. Whatever the value that we are getting, right, we are letting the user know that the case status has been set with this value. One more thing that we have to do here is, folks, as soon as the record is updated here, we have to also update the cache as well, right? And we have to notify the user that they have to go and update the cache, and for that we do use the method that is the notify record update available method. So to use that method, again I'm also not quite familiar with the syntax, so you have to search to the Google, that is the notify record update available. Okay, you have to use this method, and for that first you have to import this notify record update available in your code. So I'm also doing the same thing. I am importing this notify record update available, and after that you have to invoke this method to perform those operations. They have given an example below as well how you can use this notify record update available, right? You should use this whenever you are performing the update operation and you want to refresh the LDS. So here, as soon as the update operation has been done, I am invoking this method. This method will again returns the promise, so I am again using the await here. Now here I need to pass the list of array ID. How they are passing it, you can see that after the record ID they are sending here the record ID. So rather than I go and use that syntax, let me copy this syntax and use this one, because this one is much easier to copy, right? I already have the record ID available in the response case ID, so here I can go and put the ID here, or we also have the record ID input, so that's also work for us. So this is how you can notify the LDS to refresh it, and because of this, if we go and perform these steps, so whatever the value that we are updating here, the same value will start replicating here as well. Okay, now my component looks good. I believe I have done everything correct. Let me go and deploy this. So my component is deployed here successfully. Let's navigate back here, and first let's go and refresh the page, and this time we will be sending the case status value to escalated. So let's the page has been refreshed, right? And now let's current, so current value of this is working. You can see that the current value is working, and now I am sending the case status as escalated. Let me go and click on send. The expectation here is the value should be updated. You can see that my value is updated and also I am getting the toast notification as well. So this is how folks you can subscribe your Lightning Web component to the platform event. I hope you folks found today's session helpful and got some learning from this session. Kindly share your thoughts in the comment section as well. Thank you. Have a good time.